Bucks are on a roll, put up 136 on New Orleans last night. They've won 6 in a row. Giannis played 5 of those games. Offensive rating 123 and defensive rating 112. Giannis is averaging about 32 on 60% shooting. So what are the chances that Giannis can take the Bucks on a playoff run?
Well, the argument against it is they're 0-7 against Boston and Cleveland this year. That's a strong argument against it. Now, you dig into those games. Every single one of the Boston games was in the balance in the fourth, and Boston, won. Mm-hmm. The first 2 Cleveland games were decided by 1 and then 2 points. It was very early in the year. Right, and then there was the blowout. So it's not like they haven't been able to hang with the best teams in the East. Now, obviously, Dame was healthy at that time, but I'll tell you, against Boston and Cleveland, I don't know that Dame is a huge net positive because those teams both have so many guys who can create their own shot and score. Dame's going to have to defend, and so that could work against them. I saw the last time Giannis was healthy in the playoffs was a series against Boston that went 7 games that he averaged 34, 15, and 7. And they lost in a great 7-game series. Tatum had the amazing Game 6, and Grant Williams hit 8 threes in Game 7, and you go home. I want to believe they can do it because
I really have a chance to get out of the East?
Yeah, because the same way I do feel like he deserves at least 90% of the if you have him, you have a chance shot that we give Jokic.
Sure.
You know what and so
the only difference is Jokic has done it more recently. That's really the difference.
Yes, correct, but not I guess a lot more recently.
2 years.
Yeah, 2 years more recently. But so they got Bobby Portis back from the suspension, which is huge. Portis smashing beer cans on the sideline accidentally. So I'm not going to say it's 0%, and I'm not going to say it's just a puncher's chance because Giannis is that great. I think it would be silly to say, yeah, they're going to beat Boston because Boston has no one as good as Giannis, but they would have the next 5 best guys in the series.
Yeah.
And so it would take a Herculean effort, but I've always thought of him as a Herculean player. You know what I mean? I was the last man on Giannis is the best player in the league island holding out before the Jokic wave swept me away. And so I think maybe, I'm sorry if that's kind of a weak answer, but I think the Bucks, because they have him, and he looks into it, they have a real shot.
Yeah, I don't give him a real shot. I mean, just because you have Giannis, okay, puncher's chance or whatever, but the downfall of the Bucks during the Giannis tenure, obviously early in his career, there was the wall that Miami would build and beat them. But since then, it's been that he just hasn't had enough help. Chris Middleton's banged up and hurt. Drew Holiday's gone. Now, Dame obviously is a great player, but oddly, their offense has been better during this 11-12-game stretch without Dame than it was with Dame.
Giannis
the defense has been a little bit worse. Yeah, Giannis is, 32, you mentioned, but 12 rebounds and 11 assists during this 5-game win streak. He's playing phenomenally, but I don't think he has enough help. Like Cleveland, one of the reasons Cleveland's beaten them is because the Bucks don't have the athleticism to really stop you on that three-point line. And Cleveland is the best three-point shooting team in the league, and they take a lot. Not the most, but they take a lot. And so I think that's a problem for them. Obviously, that can be the same case with Boston. And so, Indiana's going to be tough. I know they're 3-1 against Indiana this year, but Indiana won't be easy. But I think they can beat Indiana. And then the second round, they would get Cleveland. And I think that's where it ends. I'd love to see it, too, because Giannis is one of those guys where if he can just get more championships, he's a guy that can go high up the rankings, but I don't see it this year. And then it's going to be interesting. What do the Bucks do, or what does Giannis say in the offseason? But I think Cleveland ends their season.
Wiles, before we get to the offseason stuff, let's just say they win round 1 against Indiana. And again, the playoffs are not locked in the East, but it's probably going to be 4 or 5, Milwaukee, Indiana. Man, I think one of the reasons I had a kind of mealy-mouthed answer there was, logically, there is no statistical argument to say the Bucks being 0-4 against Cleveland, Cleveland being a 65-win team, Cleveland having, you know what I mean, such a well-rounded roster, all of it, that the Bucks would win. But I know myself, and if they are coming off a series win, them being Milwaukee, first series win in a few years, have Giannis healthy in the playoffs for the first time in a few years, I think I'm going to go into that series and be like, I think Giannis can beat the Cavs.
Wow.
Like
it would be fun.
See, the other thing is the Cavs have the size and the defense. I mean, and Evan Mobley and Jared Allen to, again, make it tough on Giannis. And so
I don't think I could credibly look at, like, if the bracket were different and they were going to have to play Boston in round 2, I don't think I'd feel that way. And I know Cleveland's been better than Boston this year. But I just...
Well, Cleveland's got something to prove, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, everybody doubts them in the playoffs as well.
Yeah.
So that's
I think the ideal
Cavs.
East, with respect to the Pacers and the Pistons, the ideal round 2 in the East from the viewer's perspective is Cavs, Bucks, Knicks, Celtics. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like where to me it feels like the 4 teams with the highest upside, 4 teams that all went into this year like we can win the championship, and we built an offseason assuming we can win a championship. So that's what I'm hoping we get.
Tough one.
What, KW?
I like Giannis. It's just not going to happen.
Well, it already did happen.
What?
Well, when they had Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton and
he's on the Celtics now.
a better squad.
Could the second best player start on the Celtics for the Bucks?
No.
How about for the Knicks?
Well, Dame.
No, Dame's out.
He's saying that.
But
no. Could they start on the Celtics? No.
How about the Knicks?
Probably not. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.